Hi, Shelly here. Today I'm going to start out with some little sheets of deli paper that I'm just going to start making some marks on with some different size black pens. And no real rhyme or reason, I just want it for collaging. And plus, to me, it helps me doing something that doesn't take a lot of thought like this. Helps me to get started, get the juices flowing, as I like to say sometimes. And so that's how I decided, that's how I thought I'd start today. I have been out for the last 2 months with some kidney stone issues. Had a little bit of a blockage and gone through 2 surgeries already to clear everything out. I still have 1 to go this next Wednesday. And I just haven't felt very good, so I have not been creating. But I'm feeling a little better today, and I thought maybe if I got started with something that I would actually be able to get a video going and out by the end of the week or next week. We'll see how it goes. But it has been quite the journey. I'm not going to do a lot of sheets, but I just like to do a couple. Whoops. Sometimes I have a hard time talking and creating. Some people make it look so easy, but it isn't always for me. Okay, and let's just do some dots. Trying not to think too much about it so that it looks a little bit more random than planned. The first one was a Sharpie, the second one is my Bic Intensity that I like, and these are Faber-Castell's Pitt pens. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. Today I'm working on an 11 by 14 inch hardboard canvas, and I've taken one of my butterfly stencils. I can't remember which one this is. I'll have it listed below though, and just separated it, and I'm going to cut it out of cardstock. And I'm just going to start by kind of figuring out where I want it on my canvas. This doesn't have to be perfect here. I just want an idea. Most of the background papers won't be seen anyway, as usual, but some of them will, maybe. So I always like to do my background like they are going to be seen. And then I've got these butterflies that I stenciled onto tissue paper using my mandala butterflies. I thought they would be fun in the background. Then I've got some numbers. Then I have this tissue paper that I stamped and stenciled on ages ago. I think I've got a good enough idea of how I want to start. I rarely get it back. I don't know if I ever get it back like I think I'm going to do it. I like to have a good idea of how I'm going to start. That's not good. My pencil is smearing. Don't know if that's going to bother me as we get going or not, so I think what I'm going to go in with a baby wipe and just see if I can get some of that top layer off. Get my bubbles out from the center out. I'm not worried about wrinkles. I like the wrinkles. I love the texture. I don't want too big of ones in there, but the little ones I think are nice. I feel like these designs are a little too bold because I want my butterflies to be the bold ones and stand out. So I'm going to go through and tear a few more pieces without the bold. There, I like that. All right, make sure I get a nice coat over everything. 2 baby wipes. And then I'll just make my texture all the same. Okay, now we'll let this dry and then we'll be ready to continue. My canvas is dry and now I'm just going to clean up my edges really quick. Now I want to mix up a little bit of my navy blue and my dark gray to get a dark smoky gray. And I've got a couple of stencils here. I don't know if I'm going to use them both or not. I want just to put a little bit more into my background. I think we're just going to do that. All right, I'm going to dry this really quick. My black marker, not pencil. There, now we can see it. I've got my glue gun heating up, and what I've decided to do is I want an edge on my butterfly, a raised edge. I could do it with my original stencil. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. There's a raised edge here, but it's a little thinner than I want. I want it a little bit pronounced word. I could use with my hot glue gun and just make a raised edge, and I have done something similar to that before, and that's fine, but it's hard to get control with the hot glue gun to make a nice smooth line, and the paint always doesn't cover it as well as I'd like. So I think what I'm going to try today is jute. I could be making a big mistake, but that's what I'm going to try. And so that my edges are good and I don't have a big where I start, I'm going to overshoot it right here at my bottom of my body, and then I'll cut this off when I'm done, I think. The other thing is on jute, as you go down through a piece of jute, you will see, I mean, it's not perfect. You've got some wavy areas and there's some bigger areas where it's a little thicker, and that's where they've taken different strengths, another like two, and put them together. And so I actually went in with my scissors and trim that up a bit, because I'm not going to pull on it and go crazy with it. But right in here, it's a little thinner because I cut some of that out. Because the strength of the jute is not going to matter along the way. It's a new hot glue gun and I'm not used to it yet. And I'll just lay this down in there and push it down. And then just wait for a few seconds. Actually, I think I'm going to cut it like that, and then I'll cut that off there later. Then I can butt this up against here. Bends are harder to make. Small, tiny bends. And then I've got some kind of clay tools, not kind of, but they are clay tools that I'm using, where I can go any kind of a pointy tool just to clean up any big areas where I've overshot the glue. I also like the, and you may not, but this is, jute's kind of hairy, you know. It kind of has these little bits and pieces, and I kind of dig that. So I'm going to leave that. There, I think that looks really good. Now I want to make up a lighter blue. A couple of different ones, I think. Using my same blue gray here. I like using these plates for a palette because I can just stick them inside of a plastic bag. Let them sit to make sure to see if I need them again. I'm not worried about it being mixed up 100% because I think a little bit of variation in there is great in this instance. Start out by just putting one coat of blue all over, just to get everything covered. All right, I think I've got all my jute covered pretty good, and I think what I want to do is let it dry just a little bit before I go in with some more color. I'll use my heat tool to get it started, and then I think I'm going to go up and grab some dinner and be back in about a half an hour, and then we'll continue. Now I want to go in with a little bit of my beige and white. I think I'm going to go ahead and put my antenna on now. Using my pit pen again. So now let's dry this pretty good, and then we can come in with our modeling paste. Now I have never used modeling paste and crackle medium before, so I don't even know if it's going to work, but I want to try it. So I think what I'm going to do is scrape a little bit of modeling paste on, not very much. Okay, now before I put the crackle paste on, I'm going to get my design stencil here, line it up, and then I'm going to hold it down and get a good fit just on the inside of my butterfly. To be really raised, so I am putting quite a bit of paste on there. I'm sure I'm going to have quite a bit of cleanup to do. But that's all right. Trying to keep it within my jute string, but if I go out I can hopefully fix that. I'm not worried about it getting real smooth. I want it to be nice and textured. Alright, I think that's all my spots. So now I'm going to get my paper towels out, lift it off slowly. And then once I get most of it wiped off, I like to smush it between two paper towels, get all that I can off, and then I can do an easy soap and water cleanup of my stencil. All right, now what I'm going to do is get some of this paste out, put it out here because I don't want my quick dry to dry too fast. And whoop, she puts her hand in paper towel. Okay, now I want to go through, and this is not going to be perfect image. That's okay. I'm not looking for a perfect image. Some of these really high spots I'll push down a little bit. I can sand them later. I'm not worried about that. But some of these places where I've got the stencil break, I want to do something about that. So I like to get some tool and go in and just add a little bit on there and smush it around to fill in those gaps. I won't do all of them probably, but I'll just do these big ones. And then I'll come back, we'll let it dry overnight, and then I can come back in and sand off the big globby bits, smooth it out just a little bit. My jute seems to be holding really nice. I don't think we've got to worry about that coming up. All right, now I'm going to get my Crackle Paste. Just put a little, this is so old. If you've seen my other videos where I've used it, I've just had so much fun with it, but it's from like 1994. Plaid, folk art. And I'm just going to go in and tap a little bit in on top of my, I don't know what happened to my voice. A frog in my throat all of a sudden. I'm going to go in and just tap a little bit on top of my Crackle Paste to see if it will do something. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that, but it'd be really cool if I got some crackle just in a few spots. Super excited for tomorrow to see what happens and if we have something really cool or if it's going to be meh. And by the way, just so you know, I do have some good deco art Crackle Paste, which is fantastic. But I found this and I'm just trying to see, can I use it? I like to see if I can use things up and use things a different way, and so we're trying. Well, it's the next day and sadly my Crackle didn't do anything on my modeling paste, my texture paste. In fact, not only did it do nothing, it's very shiny, which I don't love either. So hopefully you can see, yeah, I think you can see the shininess. So here's what I did. I just noticed that my arm from my surgery a week and a half ago, they kind of, yeah, still getting that back to normal. It's always something with my arms, it seems like. Anyways, I've got this Deco Art Crackle Paste, and I'm going to try to put some of it on there and see if I can get it to go. If not, we will paint over it and carry on another way. But sometimes we experiment and things don't go as we'd like. And that's, I don't know about you, but that's how I learn. And Now there are other times when it is very upsetting, but I don't think that this is one of those times, but we'll see. So we'll quickly put this paste on and let it dry, and then hopefully we will have some nice crackle. All right, I think that's all my bit shiny pieces. We'll let this dry, then we can come in and see what we've got. It's been another day because I had a little bit of a bad kidney stone day yesterday. So, feeling better today. So I've got a couple of sanding blocks here, and you've seen all this texture that I've got on here. And I want to just go through, and I'm not real careful about it. I just put it right on top and kind of swirl. Or some areas I can get in, and you can also use scissors. I love these ones that have a little bit of a curve on them, because then you can really get in there. And so let's actually, I should probably start with this. Oh, and look at my crackle. Isn't that crackle just delicious? I love that. We'll clean up some of these really tall, pointy areas. And if you can, it's always best to, for me, I like to take them outside and do my sanding, or definitely put it over a trash can. I just bought these off of Amazon, but I thought they were pretty groovy. They were inexpensive, and I really like that curve up. Down in places. And this is still pliable. It's not hard as a rock yet. I've still got a couple of days before it will cure really hard. That's why I love this as a paste, because it just really is easy to work with. Now, of course, if you wanted a much better, you don't have to go this high like I've gone. I wanted it to be very raised. You can get a much better image through a stencil with the same modeling paste, and just do a lighter application. So, really wanted this thick, grungy look. Okay, I'm going to call that good, and I'm going to see which one do I want to use. I'll get to doing a little sanding. I'm being gentle because it's still, like I said, it's still a little bit pliable. So don't go crazy with it, but I'm trying to keep it flat so I don't mess up my paint underneath. Time to go in and do a little bit more painting. So I want to add in a little bit of my dark gray here and there. think I am going to go ahead and paint, even though I'm going to come back and highlight with white. I think I am going to paint all my modeling paste. I don't like that dingy grayish white that it winds up with my canvas. Now, if you do this, I think that you should paint. I would recommend that you paint all these first. Looking back, I kind of wish I would have made my antenna out of the twine. Okay, now I want to, I think, use my fingers and go through and just I always like to use these, my ring finger, well, it's not my ring finger on my right hand, right? But my right hand, it's always these two fingers for some reason with me. You can use a brush and be more accurate and take your time, and I want it to look more Here's a close look at that texture. I think it's very cool. I love how it turned out. I love the distress, the crackles, I don't know, I think it's very yummy. Hopefully you like it as well. I hope you'll try some stuff that I tried in this video and see what you could do with some crackle. Get the new crackle, don't get old crackle. And I hope you'll have some fun doing a project similar to this. If you're looking for some new stencils, you can check out my PayHip shop. The link's below. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll join me on my next video. Bye for now.